Hi, look what I've got here. Yet another exercise bike, which is awesome because I'm planning Dynapod Mark II. Mark I was about me working stuff out, obviously. Mark II, I want it to look like a real product. So all we have to do to this is a very minimal adaptation, and I'll show you that adaptation, and then we'll have a product, because people have these things. People have lots of these things, and they don't do anything on them apart from sweat, wobble, and lose some fat. It wouldn't be a bad idea if they just charged their phone with it. So a simple thing, but putting a dynamo on so you could charge your phone would be brilliant. Obviously we're thinking of the Dynapod so that we can put other attachments on, but even something as simple as that, to my mind, would actually make a product. I mean, Peloton sells for over 1,000 because you've got a pretty screen and some girl going, "Come on, fat boy, cycle," and you'll pay for that. How many people would pay, do you think, if it just had a little dynamo so while they cycled they could charge their phone? I don't know, but I would think that would make a product. Now, the one we made obviously didn't make a product. It wasn't the most beautiful thing in the world. It did wobble quite a bit. But this one we're going to be careful with. We're going to try and get that output shaft done, but retain the look and shape of it so that it looks like a product. Anyway, first things first is to take this off. Now, these are marvels of engineering. I mean, they might be completely useless. I know my bias is showing again, but they're marvels, actually. And when we get this off, you'll see how compact everything is. Okay, we've got the cover off. Now, all these exercise bikes, whether they're floor standing or fold-up ones like this, basically work the same way. You pedal on this thing, sets a whole load of gears going, and turns this flywheel. This flywheel has a shoe here, and that shoe's full of magnets. Usually a screw attachment here that moves those magnets closer or further away from the flywheel, and that's what creates your resistance. Now obviously I don't want it to be an exercise bike. If I did, I would leave the shoe in place, but I don't. I want it to be a Dynapod. I want to be able to charge my phone with it. So I need to remove this shoe, and I'm going to use this flywheel as a pulley. So I've taken the flywheel out. Now what we need to do is turn that into a pulley. There's two ways we could do that. One, we could grind a groove in there. I'm a bit worried about this on inspection though, because it seems to have an aluminium ring on it. And the other is cut a couple of bits of plastic and basically glue them on there, making that a pulley. Now, it's easy to cut circles out of plastic if you use something like this, a circle cutter. We did a video on how to make this, but it's very simple. It's a bar, and then we've got a cutting head, and then we've got a turn down piece that we put on the bar. You stick that in there and draw round and round, and you cut yourself a beautiful circle. Obviously you want a disc, so I'm going to repeat that circle again, but smaller. It's a flywheel with its guide plates on, meaning it'll take a belt. Now we attach that belt to another pulley. We have an output shaft. Anyway, let's get this put back together. So that's the adaptations done. I mean, no welding, it's all drilling and bolting it, but there's the output pulley right there with the output shaft, and obviously I adapted the flywheel here to be the input pulley. We got this great long belt so that it clears your knees. Now if I give that a bit of a spin, that shaft will turn at a rate of knots. It's pretty awesome, huh? Okay, so now I want to put the covers back on and get it looking just like an exercise bike. There it is, all back together with its output shaft. I mean, I think it's pretty neat. Let's get it on the floor and give it a go. That actually works really well. This, incidentally, is only here while I do something about it. And what I'm planning is a gear or a pulley right there. Saw that off. Because the hardest thing of this is getting the output out of the gearing in the bike. Once you get to somewhere like this, and this incidentally is just bought off the shelf pulley blocks and a pulley. Once you get to here, you can do anything with it. I mean, if we put another little pulley here and a dynamo here, then we've got our generator. Now, everything else has been untouched. So in here is still a Hall sensor. So we can still use all the speed, scan, distance, calories, all that sort of stuff is on here. With more enterprising, of course, you could take the power out and have a calculation of how much you're actually generating when you're doing this. bit of stabilisation, and you've got yourself a phone charger. Now, as I say, I want this as the Dynapod, so what I'm thinking of is something around about here, or here maybe, that you would actually do your work on, but this getting the output shaft is the difficult bit. And it wasn't that difficult. I mean, it was a piece of cake to do, which is, I showed the difficult bit, the modification of the flywheel. This bit is just bought off the shelf stuff bolted onto the frame. That's all there is to it. Now, as I say, I seriously think this is a product. This particular bike is in the sort of 120 to 160 pound region. A good rule of thumb is that the manufacturing cost of something is a quarter of the retail cost. So you're looking at 30 to 40 pounds if you had this made. Once you have the prototype worked out, what you would do is have the units manufactured for you. And since as the whole thing is based on a pre-existing exercise bike anyway, you'd be able to get these units made relatively cheaply, I would have thought. So I think it makes an excellent product. Or just that addition for the charging would make an excellent product. It's fold up, so it could be the Dynapod that would be for emergency situations. Anyway, I hope you like the idea. I thought I'd share it with you. It is just for anybody who wants to use it. It is free to use. So thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it.